Now.
On 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app.
O'Connor and Company.
It's 6:06. It's O'Connor and Company. Thanks for tuning in this Monday morning. Good to have you. Coming up at 6:35, Carrie Lukas, president of Independent Women's Forum. It's 7:05. Joe DeGenova will be here. 7:35, Sean Parnell will give us the latest on the Secret Service and the Trump assassination attempt. 8:05, Scott Pressler will be with us. And then at 8:35, Matt Bonesteel will give us a wrap-up of the Olympics. It's Larry O'Connor with Julie Gunlock. Julie.
Good morning.
Good morning to you. As you know, something pretty important to us here is parental rights, parents' rights, the fact that we know best how to raise our children, short of some sort of, horrific, horrible abuse. The parents should, if I may coin a phrase, the government should mind their own damn business, I think is the best way to put it. Isn't that what Tim Walz is saying is the golden rule now?
Yeah.
Love your neighbor as yourself has now been translated by Tim Walz into mind your own damn business.
Yeah.
But of course he and his party and Kamala Harris want nothing of the sort. In fact, they want the government very much in your business as a parent on how you raise your child. Listen to this teacher at the Kamala Harris-Tim Walz rally over the weekend. Listen.
I'm also a mother of 3 beautiful adult children, and they are all teachers like me. Growing up, I always knew I wanted to be a teacher because I saw education for what it really was. The greatest instrument of social justice in this country.
Wow.
There you go.
There you go.
That's what teaching is.
Yeah.
The
And
greatest instrument of social justice.
And that is that's the future that Kamala and Walz want. They want teachers indoctrinating kids.
Yeah, it's the Cultural Revolution. And as you know, California and Tim Walz's Minnesota have passed laws where if a child wants to change their gender chemically through pharmaceuticals and the parents don't give consent, then the child can basically become a ward of the state, and the state will step in and conduct that medical care in lieu of parental approval. Virginia wanted to pass the same thing. Had Terry McAuliffe won the election, they probably would have pushed it through.
Yeah, and they wanted to criminalize parents who do not affirm their children, do not allow them.
So Donald Trump on the campaign trail has pointed this out about Tim Walz's radical views. And the fact that this is an LGBT thing sort of clouds the issue. This is actually much more fundamental than that. I don't care what it is. When the government decides to step in and revoke a parent's rights to make medical decisions for a child, you better be paying attention. And yeah, sure, this is LGBT. What if it's the vaccine thing? In fact, I'm sure in Tim Walz's Minnesota there was a vaccine mandate on children, and if parents didn't comply, the parents were looked at in some sort of criminal manner. That's what we're talking about here. So Donald Trump has evoked this. Here's the exchange again. Jonathan Karl, ABC News, debating J.D. Vance on this.
Yep.
J.D. Vance held his own beautifully, but it's, again, incredibly revealing for you to hear what the Harris-Walz ticket would do and what the Trump-Vance ticket is trying to protect, and most importantly in this, how the media is taking sides and actually engaging in the political debate rather than just trying to get information and illuminate for voters. Listen.
And finally, before you go, we commit to this race to kind of sticking to the facts. I mean, I heard Donald Trump give this speech in Montana he just gave, and he said that Tim Walz has signed a letter letting the state kidnap children to change their gender, that allowing pedophiles to claim, to be exempt from crimes. I mean, this is not true. It's not remotely true.
Well, what President Trump said, and I haven't watched the whole rally.
What he said was not true.
What President Trump said, John, is that Tim Walz has supported taking children from their parents if the parents don't consent to gender reassignment. That is crazy. And by the way, Tim Walz gets on his high horse about mind your own damn business. One way of minding your own damn business, John, is to not try to take my children away from me if I have different moral views than you.
He has not signed a law allowing the state to kidnap children to change their
identity.
How would you?
What I just explained to you, I would describe as kidnapping, John. He is absolutely done this stuff. It's not crazy, John. Come on.
It's not what
you
he's
should
done.
not. You should not be able to take people's children away from them.
And that's not what he's proposed.
If you disagree with decisions about gender reassignment, yes, he has proposed that, John. He absolutely has. Now, here's the more important thing, John. Why are we talking about inflation? Why are we talking about the fact that groceries are unaffordable thanks to Kamala Harris's policies, and so is housing? We've talked a little bit about the border. Why are we talking about the fact that the entire world is on fire because Kamala Harris's foreign policy, she's just asleep at the wheel? We have a set of plans. You talk about sticking to the facts. Donald Trump and I have a set of plans to lower the cost of housing and food, to bring peace back to the world with American leadership. That is all that we want to do. And I think it's telling that the Harris administration is focused so much on these side issues instead of on the real substance, why Americans are unhappy with Kamala Harris's leadership.
To be clear, I just asked you about something that Donald Trump brought up, not something that the Harris campaign brought up. I was asking about Donald Trump's
No, I'm
words.
saying
Thank you.
But John, the Harris campaign, what are their policy views? They don't have a policy position on their website. Should she sit down and answer tough questions with you?
Yes,
I think she should.
absolutely.
Where is she?
There you go. That again is a great job by J.D. Vance, and I know it's funny when I hear it over and over again. Julie, I know that you want him to sort of be even more aggressive, like Trump.
Right.
You know, why are you working for them? But here's the thing: if he did do that, then that would become the story instead of the actual substance of the interview, which I think is.
Yeah, and he really does. I mean, parents need to understand that it absolutely is terrifying to think that your child might be going through some emotional and psychological problems.
Yeah.
And they want to make irreversible changes to their bodies. And you want to walk this slowly through with your child and make sure that they grow up and they make mature decisions and that the state might intervene. It is parents that are facing this situation are bullied. And again, in some states, they want to criminalize parents for being parents. It is terrifying. People need to understand Walz will pursue this.
Yeah, the language of the bill that Tim Walz, actually, it's not a bill, excuse me. It's an executive order that he made without actually bothering to get votes. It allows temporary emergency jurisdiction for the child if a parent denies the sex change procedures. One man's kidnapping is another man's temporary emergency jurisdiction.
There you go, Larry. That's perfect.
So that's that. Oh, how dare he say they kidnap the children? Oh, you're right. They don't kidnap the child. They have temporary emergency jurisdiction and let the child go through life-altering medical procedures, and then you get your kid back.
Oh, but he's just a Midwest dad, Larry. He's just a Midwest dad.
Here he is talking about it. And by the way, just pay close attention to here as they continue to call it gender-affirming care.
And what we want to say is we're there to protect children. We're there to have you understand that in Minnesota you're going to be protected. And I just want to be clear. I will never understand what goes into the thinking of these folks to bully these children. That is not impacting them in one bit and making it a living hell for children, for families, for adults, for folks who are just trying to bring themselves in. So in Minnesota, we're making it very clear we're not going to cooperate with these folks. We're not going to extradite people. We're going to say that this is a place where you can come to make these decisions. The community, the trans community is as terrified as they've ever been. We've seen attacks across the nation, even here in Minnesota, and we're now saying we have to be much more proactive. We have to be much more aggressive about making sure that folks are protected. So this is another of the fronts that, again, don't deal with climate change. Don't deal with other things. Deal with making people's lives miserable on something that won't impact you. That's what these governors are doing, these attorney generals are doing. And I've had it. As a teacher, I will not stand bullies. I never did. And I'm not going to stand bullies who are masquerading as somehow about freedom. This has nothing to do with personal freedoms.
He talks a good game, and he gets all, he's a bully. In fact, you can hear the way he's talking. Yeah. And but here's what he's not telling you in that little diatribe about how horrible these other governors and attorney generals are and how they should be focusing on climate change. So typical. In Minnesota, there is no age limits at all on minors, even without parents' consent, about getting any of these procedures done. None at all. No age limits. You go ahead and pick your side on this. I know what side I'm on. Carrie Lukas, Independent Women's Forum, is going to be joining us at 6:35 to delve into this and some other issues. First, though,
News is brought to you by New Look Home Design.
now this was a truly terrifying moment. Somebody with Tenet Media, they do a lot of these man on the street sort of things where they go and they interview people at rallies and things like that. You know how they talk about how QAnon, which is sort of like, I don't even know. I've never really understood what QAnon is or
Neither have I.
how they gather or how you get a membership card or whatever. But,
I don't get it.
But apparently it's sort of an internet sort of phenomenon of people who are align themselves with Donald Trump, thinking that fearing quite horrific things about the political left and cultural left in this country. And by the way, a lot of the things that they fear turn out to be true. But that's a whole other story.
Right.
I was going to use the word conspiracy theory, but I'm not really. But anyway, I'm told that QAnon is dangerous and they're crazy and they get sucked into these, incredibly.
And the left loves to throw QAnon at you if you in any way question anything. Oh, you're listening to QAnon. Yeah.
Right. If you happen to think that, oh, geez, we had this organized thing within bureaucracies of the established government and the mainstream media parroting whatever they told them. That told us that the Steele dossier was 100% genuine and the Hunter laptop was not to be trusted, when it was, in fact, the exact opposite on both of those things.
Yeah, you're just
then you say, wait a minute, something's amiss here. And it's like, oh, no, you're crazy. Okay, so now here's just a random sampling of two people who came to the Arizona Kamala Harris rally who were explaining why they're voting for Kamala Harris. And actually, it's a couple of different sets of people. I hate to, I don't want to get in trouble for misgendering anyone, but I believe both cases here, these are young women. Although I think two of the people are identifying not as women anymore, but they're not fooling anyone. They're still women. I think they're women who have just decided that it's easier to go through life as a woman pretending to be a boy rather than an actual woman. And listen, I get it. It ain't easy being a woman. It ain't easy being a man. I'd love to delve into the psychology of this whole trans thing sometimes.
You do it when I'm not here. All right, go ahead.
No, the social cultural pressures on, honestly, being a young man in America right now, if you don't fit into a certain model and a certain mold, it's like, you know what? I'd rather just pretend I'm a girl. Okay, be better off. I can see somebody getting into that kind of mindset. Honestly, it's I'll be celebrated. Let's do it.
I get it. Yeah.
All right. So anyway, here are these two. And by the way, these two sets of women have gone through drastic sort of makeup, hair. They look gothy. They sort of look pierced and tattooed and weird colored hair. Democrats. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's plow through this. We'll start with cut 12. Go.
Why are y'all voting for Kamala Harris?
I don't want to lose my rights. I'm a trans man and I'm gay and I have been pregnant and I've had an abortion before and I don't want to lose that. I'm afraid of not being able to be myself anymore because from what I've heard, Trump's America doesn't want me to look like this. So that's why I'm here today and that's why I'm voting blue.
And speaking on behalf of Trump's America, we could not give a crap how you decide to look. Go ahead and all we care is that you don't force this on our children. Honestly.
I mean, I might have some opinions on how you look, but I don't want to make a
we're
law
not going to stop
against
you.
it. I mean, you do look pretty hideous, but I don't want a law that says you can't look hideous.
Yeah, but can we hear 12A here, because this is an amazing. This is your prototype of a Kamala Harris voter.
I'm a trans man and I'm gay and I have been pregnant and I've had an abortion before and I don't want to lose that.
Wow.
Trans gay man.
Pregnant, abortion. Boy, you don't want to lose that. Okay, yeah, because your life seems to be going so well.
So if you're a trans gay man, does that mean you're a woman who identifies as a man, but you have sex with men?
It's too early to try to figure this out.
Isn't that a heterosexual?
I don't know. I've only had one cup of coffee.
Slot D situation.
Can you get back to me after my second cup?
Let's go to cut 13.
Hard.
What about you?
I've also been pregnant and had an abortion before. I was a minor, and it would have been dangerous for me to properly, it would have been dangerous for me to carry a baby with, personal reasons and everything. I also, I'm very,
Alternative.
And I feel like if Trump were to win, I wouldn't be able to like express myself through my looks and everything, and wouldn't be able to have the piercings or the dyed hair or the tattoos that I want. I would be able to be myself. And my dad's very pro-Trump, and I'm just very
Pro-Kamala.
pro-Kamala. Yeah, I don't. It's
Does
just
that cause a divide at all?
yeah, it definitely does.
Yeah,
let me
it's not
translate that for you. I've done all of this to my body, and I've come out and I've gotten pregnant, and I had an abortion, and my dad still loves me.
Right.
Damn it! And so now I'm going to do this because whatever I can do to tick off my dad.
Yeah, I don't think it's your support for Kamala that is upsetting your father.
Yeah.
It might be your degenerate lifestyle and your
Daddy
abortions.
issues for Kamala, I think, is the new
here we
new
go.
Zoom call we're going to have. All right, cut
Yeah.
14. Here's another one.
Why are y'all voting for Kamala Harris?
It's ridiculous how anymore it's really hard for people like us, like queer people, and just anyone else in that general umbrella. Thank you. General umbrella. It's just really hard for us to get rights.
Can we
And
pause here for a
with-
second? Have you noticed that they're like, if Trump wins, I won't be able to express myself. But they've always got somebody whispering in their ear telling them the words they're supposed to be saying.
Umbrella, because the umbrella's a tough one.
It is. So I won't be able to express myself. Please tell me what I'm supposed to say. Yeah, go ahead. Keep it going.
How the Republicans are handling everything. It's just putting more and more stress on us, like basically taking away everything we have. And it's just important that we feel safe just even living here. Because everyone's been wanting to leave the country, and this is the only chance we have to properly fix everything.
Wow, that's as detailed as Kamala Harris's website.
Look, I think that Trump should replay this because if electing Trump gets these people to leave the country, I am all in. Okay.
You kidding? This is going to be her cabinet. Here, last
so
one.
great.
Cut 15. Let's go.
I would definitely say that I want to keep my rights. I really do. As a queer individual and someone who's physically disabled and may not be able to do certain things, I feel like they probably wouldn't have accommodations for someone like me, especially given that I like women as a woman. I want to keep access to my bank accounts. I would like to keep making money. I don't want to be some man's object. I really don't. It's the whole thing with Project 2025 is terrifying. I read through some of it and it was just insane.
So
It's bad.
they're going to take my bank accounts. So there you go. That's everything. That's why I set this up with QAnon. You compare anything that QAnon believes is going on, and I assure you, it's not nearly as radical as what you're hearing here at these rally-goers who are mainstream in the Democrat Party.
Mention that these are all white women.
They are all white women.
White women, white leftist women. And I don't know what is going on with white women in this country, but my God, they are nuts. They really, really have mental disorders, and they need to get a hold of it.
Yeah, the men need to just step up.
Maybe we have
Carrie
another cut. Do
Lukas.
we have time? No.
Carrie Lukas, Independent Women's Forum, joins us coming up
Now on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app.
O'Connor and Company.
It's 6:36. It's O'Connor and Company. Thanks so much for tuning in this morning. We've got a great lineup today. At 7:05, it's Joe time, Joe DeGeneva. At 7:35, we'll talk to Sean Parnell. He'll give us an update on the Trump assassination attempt and the latest about the Secret Service. At 8:05, Scott Pressler. He'll talk about his efforts to get out the vote. And at 8:35, Matt Bonesteel, sports reporter at the Washington Post, to recap the Olympics. I'm Julie Gunlock alongside Larry O'Connor. Hey, Larry.
Good morning, Julie. Congratulations on your gold medal, by the way.
Thank you. Joining us now is our good friend, Carrie Lukas, sometimes heard on this very channel, president of the Independent Women's Forum. Good morning, Carrie.
Yay, Carrie.
Hey, guys. Great to be on. Thanks for having me.
So you wrote a great new piece over the Daily Signal, Kamala Harris's anti-woman agenda. You started off by talking about this white women for Kamala Harris Zoom call, and how there was an actress on there talking about the great joy the brilliance and shine of her true power. Did you tune into that White Women for Kamala call?
No, I'm not quite that dedicated to my craft. It would be a little bit too painful, too much torture. But the headlines coming out of it, I think, really tell the full story. And it is that this is been such a vacuous, glitzy campaign so far, which is just absolutely devoid in substance. I joke that it's much like the ads that my 12-year-old gets for different celebrity-endorsed makeup. It's just all shine and, oh, you'll feel so good about yourself if you too will purchase this, this very overpriced product. And that's exactly how Kamala is right now. We're not getting any information on the issues, just all this idea of glam.
Well, Carrie, I do want to talk a little bit about how her administration would actually be bad for women, but it really is remarkable. When you go to her website, there's no policy. There's you cannot find anything. Is it hard for you to find, as you were looking at this, to find, what are her positions on issues that are important for women? And then the second part of that question, why are white women so entranced by her?
Yeah, I feel like this shouldn't be hard on what her policies are, because this is the sitting vice president of the United States who has supposedly been a big part of the ongoing Biden-Harris administration. So when you look at what we've gotten for the last 4 years, until we hear differently from Vice President Harris, we can assume that she's been a part of this policy team, and what we've seen so far is what we would see in a future Harris administration, which means attacks on workplace flexibility, rampant spending, an open border, and chaos around the world when it comes to foreign policy. So until she gives us something different, I think we can, the question is do we want what we have now to keep going?
Yeah.
Carrie, I kind of do understand why people are voting for her, even though she hasn't stood up for any policies on her website or what have you, because they're so terrified of Trump. We just played a series of young women at the last rally interviewed on the Men on the Street sort of style, where these were all trans or lesbian women who confessed they had had abortions at an age, and they feel like it's Handmaid's Tale time. They feel like their bank accounts are going to be taken from them. We've already had 4 years of Donald Trump, and none of that was attempted. But how does the message get pushed through here? Because clearly they are hearing that from somewhere. They are being terrified by the prospect of a non-Democrat in the White House.
It really is, Larry. It's been so hard and so frustrating to watch a media that is just plays absolutely no positive role in trying to get the record out to actually tell voters what the choices are before them. And Larry, you're absolutely right. This is another one. We don't have to wonder what a Harris administration would be like because we're effectively living in one now. And you really don't have to wonder what a Trump administration would be like because we did live through one. We do remember how things were. And this idea that Donald Trump is going to, somehow take away women's rights or really actively undermine anybody's rights when it comes to, gays or lesbians, it's absurd. It is a crazy thing that's being propagated online. I think there's those of us who are really hoping that we get back to just a moment of some sanity when it comes to some of this identity politics. And so if there should be some people on notice, I do hope that we move away from this administration's absolute celebration of all radical gender ideology. But that's certainly not Handmaid's Tale.
Carrie, one thing that IWF has been doing such a great job at is covering the changes that the Biden administration has. They've rewritten Title IX. That actually will hurt women in real time. This is a very dangerous rewrite of Title IX. Can you just quickly summarize why that is so dangerous? That is something coming from the Biden-Harris administration that is concrete, that does definitely hurt women. Can you kind of summarize what that rewrite does?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's pretty easy. If you know of Title IX as the law that was created to ensure equality among the sexes in education, well, now it basically doesn't. It says that it has to be sex and or gender identity, which effectively means that anybody who wants to claim to be a woman should be treated as a woman. So that's going to mean that when it comes to all programs, and everybody talks about sports. And that's, we just watching the Olympics and we could see the potential of what this can do to female athletics. But this also matters for a whole lot of other things. You think of all the years we've spent hearing about how women need to lean into science and math and technology and engineering classes, and we're given programs to kind of encourage them to do so. Those are no longer make any sense. This is something that now has to be open to everyone, and of course it affects things like dorm rooms and locker rooms. And after again years of hearing about just how women should be terrified of men, frankly, now we're told, oh no, it's not a big deal if your 12-year-old is going to a quote girls camp, but that camp is now
right.
anybody who identifies as a girl, and that's exactly what we're going to be. That's what you can expect as Title IX is just totally rewritten.
Carrie, Lukas, fighting on the front lines here as president of Independent Women's Forum. Don't be a stranger. It's good to hear you again.
Thanks so much for having me on.
Thank you. I love her smiley voice. It's 6:43.
Making sense of your world.
Thanks for taking my call.
News Talk 105.9 WMAL.
Greatly appreciated.
Making sense of the news.